Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I was supposed to do this a few days ago, but I lost my voice. So we're going to look at the best junglers in the mid-season this video, but remember to check out the mid and AD versions that dropped a few days ago. We're going to flip this around this time and start at number 1 and work our way down. I'm going to split 4 and 5 into high and low elo, so it kind of makes sense. Well, I think it makes sense to get these top tier ones out of the way first. Number 1 is going to be Ivern. Even at lower ranks now, it's actually spreading, boys. Sadly, honestly, it's played more in pro play, which means that people kind of get an idea of how to play it. Partly it's to do with the strength of the mid to late game champions now in the meta, like mid and AD carries and stuff. Like AD carry is actually in a decent spot, kinda. It's one of the biggest parts. Like late game AD carries are back, so Kog'Maw, Caitlyn, Twitch and stuff, and they're able to do a lot of damage as long as they can stay alive. That's like the one problem this season, but Ivern kind of fixes that. Your ganks are pretty good, like you have some early crowd control, some decent damage. Red buff, by the way, helps a decent amount with that, and you have a gap close from your allies as well. Like I actually ban him because of the amount he can camp me. He also has the most assists out of any jungler, but also the least deaths as well, which is a brutal combo. Like it's a true support monster who just takes over early and it keeps everybody alive. Main things really are your ability to keep all these immobile picks alive, which lets them pump out their damage way more, and they're always really high damage if they're immobile. You put the enemy jungler a bit behind, you gank the crap out of everybody, and Daisy is difficult to handle early. Like you can force people away from towers pretty easily. Plus as well, if his kit wasn't enough, you have Redemption, Locket, Sensor and stuff, who are all very strong items and really strong on him. So Sejuani is going to be the best carry jungler. At least she does an insane amount of damage while being super tanky and super annoying. The damage part of this actually mainly comes from a passive, like you have the stun and then the bonus damage to that target afterwards. That is a lot of damage. Early game you're not that great, but if you can survive that part, you're going to be insane. Like Cinderhulk into Iceborne is the ultimate AD carry counter. It provides you with a lot of damage so you can kill them, but you have so much armor. A big difference to the old Sejuani is you have crowd control earlier now with the stacking mechanic. Like it's more useful now without just your ultimate being the only thing you can really do. The ultimate is obviously really good long range engage and your follow-up damage is awesome, but that's not all you can do now. The other part is the passive, so that's the other reason why she's so strong. Like basically you take no damage at the start of the fight anymore with it. It's pretty ridiculous. Main things, you're super tanky, which is kind of manageable, but the damage with that isn't really. She can stun you and then she chunks a good like 20% or more of our health bar. That's not cool. Plus for a tank, she actually farms pretty well, to be honest. Number 3 for me is going to be Warwick, and he probably has the award for like the most underrated jungle champion at the moment. Like he's barely played, but he's so good. For solo queue at least, you're a lot like Sejuani. You do similar things, kind of in a different way. You've got the damage aspect, like this time you're supposed to have some damage though you are Warwick, especially with Titanic Hydra or Trinity Force, which by the way is so overpowered if you get ahead, especially at lower ranks. You've also got this damage reduction side of things to survive though, plus you're building tank as well, so you're really well rounded as a champion. You're good in like every single team comp, every game. You can pick this guy all the time. You can tank for your team if you get behind, but you can carry if you get ahead as well. Surprisingly, his ganks are pretty decent. He's super simple. Still, his ultimate can really catch people off guard, and at lower ranks especially, he is nuts. But even at higher ones, this patch, your farming is actually pretty good as well, which gives you a lot of gold for your items. But the main thing is really like great sustain, good 1v1, and in team fights, you've got decent damage, and you work well as a tank. So you can actually carry games from the jungle even later into the game. Now, as I said, for the 4th and 5th spots, I'm going to have a low elo and a high elo pick. So the jungle is pretty different, and I think this makes the most sense to make the most useful video at least. Number 4 for the low elo one is going to be Zhao. Very similar deal to Warwick actually, like good healing, damage, and he gets pretty tanky. He's a lot like if Master Yi and Warwick actually got a bit freaky, honestly. Like that late game damage, right? You have the auto damage, but with a focus more on healing and tanking damage as well. He is one of the best late game junglers you can play, but he can also gank early and definitely hard carry a game, I think. Main things really, low elo games tend to be a bit longer actually and have more kills. So more gold means more items for Xin, which is exactly what he wants. Once he gets to about 3 items, maybe 2, he can just become unkillable, has loads of damage, and he hard carries even the worst team. For high elo, we're going to go with Elise. Basically the ultimate ganker this patch. I think she's probably the most aggressive jungler you can actually play. Almost a 60% win rate if a game ends before 25 minutes, because she can perma-gank with mobility boost over and over and over. She does fall off a little bit. Her team fight's not amazing, but if you're looking to really carry a game by being like active, ganking a lot, doing damage, snowballing that game, then Elise is definitely the pick for that. And my voice is actually starting had to go. I'm really sorry. Main things, the best ganking carry jungler you can play at the moment. Maybe Elise comes close actually, but she has an insane amount of damage and burst damage, good crowd control, and to be honest, nobody can really beat her early to mid game. Number 5, for lower elo, Amumu. At higher ranks, he gets counter jungled a lot like a mofo, but lower down, he doesn't really seem to have that much issue with it. The new Abyssal is really good on him. Tank builds are kind of mostly what we're seeing right now. He still has one of the best engages in the game though. You can gank decently early, but your team fight is insane. Like crowd control is honestly the easiest way to ever win a game because your team can follow up and you're preventing the enemy team's damage as well. You're probably the best semi-tank, semi-damage team fight champion you can actually play. Like you're very consistent, you can gank, you can do stuff early, but you'll always stand a chance to carry the game later. Now number 5 for high elo is going to be Graves, and just to say, right, I hate playing with Graves on my team because he's probably the most selfish jungle pick you can play. What I mean is he doesn't synergize into any team comps very well. He's not a team pick. He's more of a farm, counter jungle and team fight champion, which is fine if the player is really good, but that's not often the case. Now saying that, he is very good at setting the enemy jungler behind. He can gank pretty well with red buff, and if he gets ahead, that damage is going to be way too much to keep up with. Main thing is really you're amazing at farming and generating gold. You do a ton of damage, both single target and AoE. So if you have a tank top or something like that, or your team is ahead, Graves can be amazing. You just kind of have to remember he is not the best in every game or in every team comp. Honorable mention wise, Lee Sin I never talk about in these videos because he's very hard to rank when it entirely depends on the player. A bad Lee Sin will basically do nothing in the game, right? But a good Lee Sin will win the game by himself. Now I do think he is kind of at the top level of his power right now, and he's probably going to get nerfed soon. My one to watch out for this video is going to be Nunu. So with more Caitlyn, Twitch, and Kog'Maw and stuff coming back, Nunu just naturally becomes a lot better. He's very annoying to play against. You can counter jungle like a madman, but he's actually kind of considered a soft counter to Ivern, who's very strong. You can consume and smite Daisy in a fight, and it's basically instantly dead. So it's not like a hard counter, but it does help. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick look into the jungle role. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. But for now, let's go to the robots.